What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Alpha Girl Confidence Podcast. I'm your host, Shay Haddo, and this is episode 210. So today's episode is all about how to overcome slumps. So whether you play soccer, basketball, softball, tennis, golf, it doesn't matter what it is, in every single sport and for every single athlete, there are going to be times where you're going to go through a slump at some point in your career, whether it's missing shots, having bad pitches, not doing great in your serve, your drive, like whatever it is, you're not performing up to your usual standards. That's what we can define as a slump. And usually that tends to go on for a bit of a time, right? So I can say from my experience, I've been through a couple slumps in my life. And what I'm about to share with you, I wish I knew when I was going through those slumps in my youth and college career. Because I know a slump can be frustrating. It can be challenging, but it doesn't have to be like the end. Like it's just temporary. And so that's what we're going to talk about today. So here are some tips. Make sure you get out some notes for this one for how to overcome a slump in your sport. All right. Tip number one is to stay positive. So like I just said, it's easy to get down on yourself when you're in a slump, right? It's easy to talk negatively to yourself and think you're not good enough and just not be very nice to yourself. So when you do that, that's just going to keep you in the slump even longer. So it's so important to focus on the things you're actually doing well. Focus on what makes you great as a player instead of focusing on all the negative that you may be experiencing right now. And remember that slumps are a normal part of sports and you will come out of it. They are temporary. So when you're in that slump, give yourself the grace, because if you don't give yourself grace and you're all negative and mean to yourself about it, that's going to just strengthen the intensity of the slump. So that's number one, is to stay positive. Number two is to focus on the fundamentals. So when you're in a slump, it can be super, super easy to overthink and forget about the basics. I mean, a lot of the time, the reason why you might be in a slump is because you're overthinking. Right. So in that time, it's so important to go back to the fundamentals, go back to the basics, take a step back and focus on the fundamentals of your sport or on the skill that maybe you're experiencing a slump in. So let's take free throw shooting, for example. Go back to the basics. What does your elbow need to look like? What are your breath? What does your wrist need to look like? What are your fingers looking like when they come off the ball? Focus on the basics. So simple is usually better. As soon as you get all complex and in your head, that's what's going to keep the slump alive even longer. So whatever kind of slump you're in, whether it's overall in your whole sport or if it's a specific skill, go back to the basics, focus on those fundamentals. And when you focus on the fundamentals, you'll find yourself actually overthinking less and getting into your body more. All right, so number three is to get back to a routine. Or if you don't have a routine, maybe it's time to start a routine. So sometimes a slump can be caused by a change in routine, right? So if you've recently changed your pregame routine, your diet, your sleep, any of those things that you maybe usually do before games, go back to what worked before your slump, right? So having that routine can really help you get in the right mindset. And if you don't already have a routine, if you never had a routine and you're in a slump and now you don't have a routine and you're in a slump, it could be a good time to start to develop a very, very simple routine. Now, I don't want you to go develop this super crazy complex routine because then that's taking us away from the fundamentals, but get back to a really, really simple routine. So for example, maybe before a game, you listen to some music that gets you happy, gets you excited, gets you in the mood, and then you do a little bit of a visualization. So you're not going to go and do 10 things that you never do, but get back to either a routine that worked for you in the past or start a new routine that's very, very simple that can help get you in the right mindset before you play. So number four, and this one is absolutely huge, is to seek support. So when you're in a slump, you're in your own head, you feel like you're alone, it's hard to kind of see what's going on from the inside. So by seeking support, whether that's talking to your coach, your teammates, someone like me, they can offer advice on maybe what's causing the slump. Maybe they can see like, oh, it's this real simple tweak that we need to make, right? They can offer encouragement and just help you get out of your head, going back to the basics and back on track to where you want to be. Because here's the thing is that most of the time, slumps are mental. So getting the feedback and support can help you really get out of your head, get some advice from kind of an outside perspective, and then help you just to focus on those fundamentals instead of trying to figure it out all yourself. And then the last but not least, and this is one that if you don't do this, you're going to stay in your slump forever, is to stay committed, right? So the most important thing to remember when you're in a slump is to stay committed. Don't give up on yourself. Don't go thinking that, I'm not for soccer. I shouldn't play soccer anymore. Volleyball just isn't my sport, or I'm just no good. I'm not good enough. Don't give up on yourself. Don't give up on your sport just because of a slump. Keep working hard. Do those 4 things that we talked about and push forward. Remember. The slumps are temporary and you will come out a stronger athlete, just like with any adversity in life. Whether it's related to your school, sport, life, whatever, any adversity is going to make you a stronger person. So remember that during this slump, it's not going to last forever. And if you stay committed and focus on the process, you will come out a better athlete. All right. So to wrap it all up, slumps are a normal part of sports and they're going to happen to every athlete, whether you're just starting out and it's your first year playing, or if you're playing pro at the highest level possible. Right? So let's kind of recap what these 4 things are. Number 1 is to stay positive. Number 2 is to go back to the fundamentals and focus on the basics. Number 3 is get back to a routine or start a new, very simple one if you haven't already. Number 4 is to seek support. And then number 5 is to stay committed. Okay. If you do these 5 things, I promise you, it's not like you're going to get out of a slump with the snap of a finger, but you will be able to get out of that slump faster. You'll be able to get better from that slump. And also the process of actually going through the slump will be a lot more enjoyable if you have that positive outlook as opposed to you not being so nice to yourself. So make sure that next time you're in a slump, and my guess is that everyone listening here has either been in a slump or will be in a slump, go back to this episode, revisit it because I know it can really help you to get out of this and become a stronger athlete, more confident athlete, and better athlete. So I hope this episode was helpful for you. If you want more support and you want to learn more about how you can work with me directly in our brand new program, Beyond the Athlete, the link is in the show notes below. So make sure you check that out because we have such awesome support and so many awesome parts of our coaching calls that can help you not only to be a better athlete, more confident athlete, but just a more confident person in general. So I invite you to check that out if that calls to you. And again, thank you so much for listening to the episode, and I'll catch you next week.